Here is what lifetime actually means in the language of corporate accounting. It means the fluid will last the lifetime of the warranty period, not the lifetime of the car, not the lifetime of your ownership, the lifetime of their financial obligation to you. The moment that warranty window closes, your transmission becomes a ticking revenue generator for their service department. A $150 fluid change at 30,000 miles would have prevented the failure entirely. But a $5,000 to $8,000 replacement at 100,000 miles is vastly more profitable. You were never the customer in that equation. You were the crop being harvested on a longer timeline. I know this because I have spent 2 decades pulling transmission pans off vehicles and reading the evidence with my own eyes. At 40,000 miles on original fluid, the viscosity has already shifted. The protective additives are weakening. Microscopic metal particles from normal friction are circulating through precision components like sandpaper dissolved in water. By 70,000 miles, I have opened pans that looked like the bottom of a neglected coffee pot. Black sludge, the unmistakable burnt smell of overheated fluid, metal shavings visible without magnification. The transmission still shifts at that point. It still feels normal to the driver. But the internal damage is compounding silently, irreversibly, expensively, exactly the way a financial loss compounds when you refuse to look at your statement. By 100,000 miles on untouched fluid, you are no longer maintaining a transmission. You are simply waiting in line for a catastrophic bill, and the people who sold you the lifetime myth know this. They have actuarial data on failure rates. They know exactly when the average unit will grenades itself. They built the maintenance schedule around their profit model, not around your engineering reality. 3 years ago, a woman drove into my shop in a 2004 Toyota Camry, 312,000 miles on the original transmission. No slipping, no shudder, no hesitation whatsoever. It shifted like it rolled off the assembly line that morning. I pulled the pan expecting the usual graveyard of neglect, and what I found stopped me cold. The fluid was amber, clean, almost no metal particulate, no burnt odor, no sludge. I asked her what she had done differently, and she handed me a folded index card with 6 maintenance steps written in Japanese. A mechanic in Osaka gave her that card in 2009, and she had followed it without missing a single interval since. Her transmission outlived 3 of my customers' brand new replacements because she rejected the lie everyone else swallowed whole. The difference between her car and yours is not luck, not engineering, not money. It is that someone told her the truth early enough to act on it. This is not philosophy. This is arithmetic. And the numbers get worse when you look at turbocharged applications. If you are running a Honda 1.5T or a Subaru FA20 or a Toyota 2.T, the interval drops to 20,000 miles and maybe 25 at the outside. Turbos push heat through the entire drivetrain in ways most owners never consider. That heat accelerates fluid breakdown by 30 to 40%, compared to a naturally aspirated engine under identical driving conditions. Japanese mechanics found this threshold not by reading service manuals, but by opening transmissions and comparing the internal wear against documented fluid histories. The ones that failed earliest almost always had fluid that crossed the 30,000 mile mark without being touched. The ones that lasted longest, the ones that made it past 250, 300,000 miles, had fluid changed right at or before that threshold every single time. 3 different mechanics across 2 visits to Japan gave me the same number independently, 30,000 miles. One of them in Osaka actually laughed when I mentioned the American lifetime recommendation. Not cruelly. More like the involuntary reaction you have when someone tells you they never brush their teeth because their dentist said the enamel would last forever. The additive package in modern transmission fluid, even the best full synthetic available today, begins degrading between 25 and 35,000 miles under normal conditions. After that window, the fluid still circulates, still looks like fluid, but it has lost a measurable portion of its ability to protect metal surfaces from friction and heat. You are driving on borrowed time, and you cannot feel it happening until the damage is already structural. So the real question is not whether 30,000 miles is the right number. The evidence from teardowns, from longevity outliers, from the only transmission I have ever seen look nearly new at 300,000 miles, all points to the same conclusion. The real question is what happens when someone who believed in that number decides to finally act on it, but chooses the wrong method to get the old fluid out. Because if you have ever walked into a quick lube shop and let them talk you into a full transmission flush, I am genuinely sorry to tell you that they may have done more harm than good. A transmission flush forces pressurized fluid through the entire system in one violent pass. On paper, it sounds like the premium option, the thorough option, the one a responsible owner would choose. But here is what the service writer will never explain while swiping your card. Your transmission has spent years accumulating microscopic deposits. Those particles have settled into stable positions where they cause zero harm, like sediment at the bottom of a still lake. The flush is a pressure wave through that lake. It rips every particle loose and drives them directly into the valve body, which is the most precision-sensitive component in the entire assembly. Tiny passages, tiny valves, tolerances measured in thousandths of an inch. 1 week after the flush, you feel it, a hesitation between second and third gear, a shudder under light throttle, a harsh slam from park into drive that was never there before. I have watched this happen dozens of times. Customer comes in, tells me the transmission was fine last Tuesday, got a flush on Wednesday, and by Friday, the car drives like it is dying. Because it is, the flush did not clean the system. It weaponized the debris that was sitting harmlessly in place. Now ask yourself who holds the alternative knowledge and what it costs them to share it. Japanese mechanics never flush. They drain and fill. The procedure is almost insultingly simple. Warm the transmission for 15 minutes so the fluid flows freely and carries maximum contamination out with it. Pull the drain plug or drop the pan. Wait 5 full minutes after the stream slows to a drip because patience extracts what impatience leaves behind. Replace the $2 gasket. Refill with the exact manufacturer-specified fluid to the correct level. Drive 10 minutes. Recheck. Top off done. A single drain and fill only removes 40 to 50% of the total fluid volume. That sounds incomplete until you do the math the way an asset manager would. Performed every 30,000 miles, this method keeps fluid condition perpetually inside the protective window without ever generating the pressure event that destroys valve bodies. It is the compound interest approach to mechanical longevity. Small, consistent, undramatic inputs that accumulate into an outcome the flush customers will never reach. But the fluid itself is where the extraction gets even more surgical, and that is where most people get quietly bled without ever realizing the cut was made. Now here is the action, and I almost feel stupid saying it out loud because of how small it is. You start the car, you shift into drive, and you sit there. 60 to 90 seconds, no revving, no touching the gas, just idle in gear while the pump does its job and fluid circulates through the system. That is it. That is the entire protocol. On mornings below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, you extend it to 2 minutes. For the first mile after that, you keep it gentle. No hard acceleration, no aggressive merging, no flooring it onto the highway. You let the fluid reach operating temperature before you ask anything demanding of the transmission. Japanese owners do this instinctively. It is baked into how they interact with their cars. They do not think of it as maintenance. They think of it as starting the car. The highest mileage vehicles I have ever personally inspected, the ones pushing 300,000 miles on original transmissions, every single owner had this habit. Not some of them, all of them. $750. That is the total price tag spread across 150,000 miles of driving. 5 fluid changes, 5 drain plugs, 5 afternoons where you hand someone $200, or spend an hour in your own garage with a drain pan and a torque wrench. And on the other side of that coin sits a number between $4,000 and $7,000, arriving all at once, usually on a Tuesday, when you are already late for work and your check engine light has been flickering for a week. I have watched that Tuesday happen to people 63 times in 4 years. 63 faces doing the same math in my parking lot, realizing that the cost of ignoring a transmission is not spread out. It lands like a brick through a window, all at once, non-negotiable, and always at the worst possible moment. But I refuse to stand here and tell you this method will make your car immortal. It will not. Transmissions are mechanical devices with finite lifespans, and entropy wins eventually. What I am telling you is that the difference between a transmission dying at 150,000 miles and one still shifting cleanly at 350,000 miles is not luck, not engineering magic, not some secret alloy hidden inside Japanese gearboxes. It is 5 behaviors. Expose fluid every 30,000 miles. Drain and fill, never a flush. The exact fluid your engineers specified, not the universal stuff on the shelf. 90 seconds of idle warmth before you ask anything of the drivetrain. And 20 easy miles after every service before you tow, merge, or climb. That is the entire formula. No subscription, no proprietary additive, no upsell. I have a customer with a 2006 Honda CR-V sitting at 220,000 miles on its original transmission. Another with a Camry pushing 280,000. A Subaru Outback at 190,000 that still downshifts like it is angry to slow down. Every single one of those owners started this protocol before their transmissions crossed into the statistical failure window. They did not wait for the shutter. They did not wait for the brown fluid. They acted while the math was still cheap and the damage was still reversible. And here's your exit clause, because I think you deserve one. If you do a single drain and fill at your next 30,000 mile mark, and you notice 0 difference in shift quality, 0 improvement in fluid color at the following interval, you have lost $150 in one Saturday morning. That is your maximum downside. You walk away, no harm done, and your transmission is no worse off for having received clean fluid. But if you are like the 60-plus people I have tracked over 4 years, what you will actually notice is that slight hesitation off the line disappearing, that micro shudder between second and third gear going quiet, fluid that used to come out looking like old coffee, staying the color of dark honey. Those are not feelings. Those are measurable mechanical outcomes telling you that friction debris is dropping, that clutch packs are holding pressure, that your gearbox is running cooler and cleaner than it has in years. Your transmission is bolted inside your car right now, turning at whatever speed you last asked of it, either protected or slowly grinding itself down one contaminated mile at a time. The engineers who designed it built something genuinely capable of outlasting the body panels above it. They just assumed you would give it $750 of attention across its entire life. That is not a gamble. That is not an investment strategy.